Do you remember when you first met?
A long time ago, just I think when he was with Hawkwind, just towards the end of Hawkwind.
What did you make of him, if you can remember that very first meeting?
Weird. I think Lemmy has always been the same. He's always, you know, what you see is what you get. He's always been that sort of person from day one, really.
You know, of course, he was sacked by Hawkwind, wasn't he? And a few years later, of course, he formed Motörhead. And you were already well up and running as Black Sabbath by then. What did you think of this new band, Motörhead?
I wasn't that familiar at first with Motörhead, and then we'd done some shows together. We had Motörhead. They were loud, I know that, and we were loud. I think one of the first shows we did with them, it was some open-air show, and I think it was in Ireland. And underneath the stage was the dressing rooms. And of course, our dressing rooms underneath the stage, and they were on. And it was horrendous. You could hear everything rattling and rumbling and, you know.
He was always at pains to point out that the band were a classic rock band, not a heavy metal band. And you would probably say the same about yourselves, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't accept it at first when they said heavy metal. I thought, what's that, you know? And I said, well, that's what you play. Because I always thought we would put ourselves as heavy rock. But I heard it that many times. Oh, you're heavy metal. OK, we're heavy metal, and that's what we are, you know.
It served you reasonably well as well.
It's done all right, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can't remember exactly when you first played with them, but you've done about 80 shows with Motörhead through the years, as I understand it.
Yeah, we've done a lot of shows with Motörhead. In fact, a lot of the tours, from when I'd had different vocalists as well, it was always Motörhead with us, which was great. I mean, we got on really well, and we had some laughs, and we had some fun. And
he did have a great sense of humour, Lemmy, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, very dry as well. I mean, they were all funny, you know. I mean, when you used to go on stage, and I'd see them all being sick on the side of the stage before they go on, you know. It was quite a sight, really.
Was there another side to him? Was there a less rock and roll side, a quiet side?
Yeah, I think there was, yeah. I think he was, you know, sometimes I'd go past his dressing room and he'd be sitting there on his own, just reading, you know.
And he was a real consummate pro, wasn't he? He took what he did very seriously.
Oh, absolutely. He never cancelled shows. I mean, I'd never seen him, apart from one time, cancel a show.
Do you know why he was called Lemmy? I can tell you if not.
Go on, you can tell me then.
It was because, as a youngster, he was always trying to borrow a fiver, apparently. And he'd say, lend me a fiver, lend me a fiver. He became Lemmy as a result. So it was back in 1981, the reason that the plaque's going here at Port Vale, because back in 1981, Motörhead played an amazing gig. In the very early days of bands playing at football grounds, they played this huge gig in front of 20,000 people that was called the Heavy Metal Holocaust, Motörhead headline. You were supposed to, Tony, as Black Sabbath, be supporting, but you didn't, you pulled out.
Yeah, I don't remember that, because that would have been, at that point, we were in America, we would have been recording.
That gig, by the way, they got a lot of complaints from local residents. So you know what the promoters did to make sure that the gig went ahead? They provided locals with free bus trips to Blackpool for the day so that they wouldn't have to experience all the noise.
I'd have complained more about that.
But we'll leave it there for now, because I know that you need to get prepared for the grand unveiling outside at the front of Vale Park here. The plaque will say, Ian Fraser, Lemmy Kilmister, 1945 to 2015, Motörhead founder and singer, whose song Ace of Spades has been adopted by Port Vale FC.